Welcome back to the School of Hard Knocks podcast. This is your host, Mark W. Knox, coming to you in the month of June. Wow, I cannot believe that we are halfway through the year already. It's been an amazing year so far. 2021 has been amazing just things happening, progress, right? Seeing my clients succeed, getting new clients, just seeing what everybody has got their hands into. You know, the outlook for 2020 was so gloom that 2021 had to be better, right? And a lot of you are doing just that. You're making it better. You just heard the drop for the Dean's List. I can't stress it enough, guys. If you need more information on the Dean's List, definitely go back and listen to last week's show. That would be number 89. And again, hit the website, hit the link in the show notes. Definitely visit my bio. That's got the link in it. But you definitely want to register for this. You just do. Again, this is a situation where you're really going to get a lot more than you bargained for. So I'll leave it at that. I don't want to drag the point. Actually, I do, but it's cool. So listen, this week, you've seen the title of the show. It's called Own It. Oddly enough, I typically come up with the title of the show before I actually start recording. Isn't that? I mean, like, I think naturally you would see where the conversation goes or see where the discussion goes and then name the show accordingly. But I like to do things a little bit different. Like I like some guardrails, especially when I do these shows by myself, because I can go off on a tangent pretty quick. Many of you know that. You've experienced that. But I like to give myself some guardrails, right? So yeah, owning it. What is owning it? And I mean, you guys understand. You know from past shows that I'm really interested in real estate investing. I'm currently in the game, as you would say, with investing in real estate and rental properties and things like that. Hopefully got some more things cooking in the next couple of months, right? To keep the ball rolling. Got some great momentum. But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about owning it in terms of real estate, right? I mean, yeah, that's important, but I'm talking about owning it in terms of your current situation. And the reason I decided to do this particular show, because toward the end of last month, as I was doing my normal coaching sessions with my one-on-one clients, that theme kept coming up, and I found myself talking about it more and more and more. And it's just this whole concept of owning it, right? And I think we've all been in a situation where we've had the opportunity to take ownership of the situation or the scenario and didn't do it for whatever reason. And hopefully, or you've been in a situation, hopefully, where you had the opportunity to take ownership of the scenario or situation, and you did. And there's a stark difference between the two, right? Because again, when we talk about leadership, we talk about someone who is entrusted to make decisions on behalf of other people. And when you own it, you own the good and you own the bad. So I'm having these conversations with my clients, and there was relative blame shifting on the part of them when we start digging down deep into issues, right? And again, not all of my clients are entrepreneurs. I do have a lot of corporate professionals that are trying to navigate the corporate workplace. So I'm definitely, helping them with that. And, blame shifting, that's natural. CYA, as we used to call it. It's one of those situations where when something goes south, I think your natural instinct is to back up, especially in a corporate setting, is to back up and save yourself. And unfortunately, a lot of people get into the practice of perpetual bus tossing under, and that's where they put their colleagues in certain situations. So there was a little bit of blame shifting going on. But what I reiterated to this individual was the situation was ripe for ownership. Right. When you encounter a situation on your job or in your business or in your hustle, whatever, in relationships in general, where it seems like no one is in control of the situation or no one wants to bear the grunt or the burden of the situation, that in itself is an opportunity to own it. Right. And when we talk about owning it, what are we really saying? What are we really talking about? Well, we're talking about, holding that opportunity, situation, scenario so near and dear to your heart and to your conscience that at any moment you feel like if it fails, you're going to have a personal stake in it, right? Or if it succeeds, you're going to be the one at the finish line crying. Like it's really being personally vested in a situation or scenario or opportunity. It's to the point where you don't just say whatever happens happens, or you don't say it is what it is. You don't say those things when you're in a situation where you're trying to own it, right? On the contrary, what you actually do say is we have to get it done no matter what, or you come to the realization that nothing's going to happen if you don't take ownership, or if you don't take the leadership position. Again, you start to navigate these waters of the personal stake. And it is extremely important that we start and begin to take personal stake in our situations and scenarios and opportunities. And, the first area where we need to take ownership is just over our current situation, right? I mean, wow. How many people do you know might be down on their luck, or may just never seem to catch a break? And those individuals are constantly blaming other people or blaming other factors to why they are in the situation that they are currently in, right? And we understand everybody doesn't have the ability, everybody doesn't have the will, the drive, or even the motivation, right? Or even the knowledge or the skill to pull themselves up out of, dire straits. We get that. And we give grace to those individuals, right? And we, as leaders, we are tasked to pull those individuals up, to help them pull themselves up. But the reality is there's some well-able individuals that all of us know that always have an excuse for why they couldn't do something, didn't do something, never achieved something, right? And the reality is we have to take ownership of our current situation first and foremost. If you don't have the ability to look at yourself, to do an introspective man in the mirror moment approach and look at yourself and say, hey, what decisions did I make that have led me to where I am right now? Or what decisions did I delay? Or what mistakes have I made? What lines have I crossed, right? That have led me to where I am now. If you don't have that ability, I'm here to tell you that it's not difficult, right? It's really not. It's not difficult. What you really have to do is you have to come to a place where you can pause, where you can stop, right? Where you can literally stop yourself in your daily routine, stop yourself mentally from, the busyness of life, and really come to the conclusion and really have some quiet time. I challenge you right now to sit alone without any distractions for 20 minutes with no device, right? I've told you before, I've done that in the past through a program at church, and it was the most difficult task out of all the other physical tasks that we had to do. That was the most difficult because it trapped me alone, right, with the realities of my thoughts. And I'm not even speaking of like from a mental health standpoint. I'm just speaking of the fact of when you pause or when you, better yet, come to a complete stop in your walk, in your journey of entrepreneurship, of, becoming a better person so that you can be successful in business. You often get to a place where you do have to face the realities of the decisions that you've made. The other thing that can remind you of your current situation, unfortunately, what we tend to do is we tend to compare ourselves to other people, right? We tend to compare ourselves to people we went to high school with or college with, or people that have the same major as us, or maybe in the same profession or have the same type of business. We compare ourselves to these people. And when we're stuck in our busyness, it's difficult to be able to negotiate the truth from reality, right? Because we're moving so fast in that situation. So what we have to do literally is stop. We have to stop, and we have to realize and understand that there's a lot to be learned when we look within ourselves, right? There's a lot to be learned. And when you start talking about owning your current situation, a lot of that, again, is ripe for the taking. It's there for you to take. It's there for you to take ownership because, you look around, nobody else is taking ownership of the situation. Everybody else is just kind of letting it fall by the wayside, right? So again, it's ripe for you to take that time, for you to take that energy and direct it into yourself and say, what can I do right now that will affect the next few years of my life? I mean, that question in itself, right? There's literally things that you can do right now, right this minute, that you have the capability of doing that will affect the next few years of your life. And that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about owning it. Because when you get in a situation, again, where you have the opportunity to own your current circumstance, you start making decisions for the future, and you stop making decisions based off of desperation, and you start making decisions based off of the investment or the return on investment, right? So, for example, what can you do right now that would, position you better for in the next couple of years? Well, you can pull your credit report and start working on some of those accounts that you haven't paid on, right? Or start working on some of those big lines of debt that you haven't paid on or that you're late on, right? I mean, I'm serious. I'm breaking it down on some simple right now, because that's owning it. That's just a simple part. That's just like owning your credit. Like, and not just saying, when you go to buy a new car, or when you go to rent an apartment, wink, wink, you just, hope for the best, right? That's not taking ownership of the situation. Taking ownership of the situation, say, hey, I made some bad mistakes in finances, in previous years, and I'm going to face them head on. I'm going to deal with it. I'm going to see how bad it is, and I'm going to begin to make the adjustments. That's owning the situation, right? A lot of us are just letting life live us versus us living life, right? A lot of us are just going through the motions, and we're just letting the days and the weeks happen to us rather than actually trying to influence the days and the weeks and to create opportunity out of the time that we pray that we're all going to get tomorrow, right? So again, when we start talking about owning it, we're really talking about being conscious of your current circumstance. We're talking about being conscious of your future. And being conscious of the decisions that I can make right now will affect the next few years of my life. Now, how do we look at that on a professional level? I know that was like macro life skill type stuff, but on a professional level, right, on the day to day, that's huge opportunity. If you're in a corporate setting, issues, problems, fire drills come up every single day of the week. You get emails, you get copied on emails every single day of the week where there's an issue. Maybe you're trying to fix an internal issue, or you're trying to fix an external issue with the client or customer, right? How about you step up to the plate, even if it's not your job title or you're not even your job responsibility? How about you step up to the plate and try to run point on that situation or have some input on that situation? Now, why would you do that? Again, those opportunities that nobody else wants to own, that's the land you want, right? That's the investment you want to make. If you can do things that nobody else wants to do and you can do them well, you will continually and inevitably make yourself a valuable asset to whatever organization that you are currently working under, right? Because you know how to do the things that nobody else wants to do, and you know how to do them well, okay? So again, run into problems and issues and situations. I know that sounds crazy. You don't want to be Mr. or Mrs. Drama. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is gathering facts and either helping management make a decision or weighing in or at least learning from the decisions that they've made, right? We're talking about owning it. We're talking about being aware of your surroundings and how you can influence that process or that decision or that scenario, okay? So again, when we look at the Dean's List and what it's going to be about, there is going to be quite a bit on owning it, quite a bit on taking responsibility for your current situation, and quite a bit on being able to make those decisions that are going to affect you for the next couple years. Okay. And then when we start talking about business decisions, man, you can do a lot in your business or your side hustle right now that's going to set you up for years to come. You can do a ton of things. The reality is most of us, again, we're operating out of desperation because we need this business to be profitable. We need it to make money, so on and so forth. So we're making decisions for right now. And that's a very sticky situation, right? That's the difference between working in your business and working on your business, right? We want to move you to a point where you're working on your business and you hire individuals to work in your business. That's kind of the secret sauce, so to speak, of growth and entrepreneurship, right? So again, make yourself available for the Dean's List. I know today's episode was pretty quick. Listen, guys, summertime. You guys have different routines, season change, people going on vacation, so on and so forth. So we're trying not to make these episodes too long for the summer, for the next month or two. But the reality of that, again, is we want to make sure that we continue to have that same amount of engagement from our listeners. And you guys have told us like, hey, I would love to listen to more of your shows, but some of them are a little long. And I get it. We'll save those long ones for when we have guests. But when it's just me, we're going to break it down a little bit. So listen, own it. Own your future. Own your present, right? Own it. Own it. Own it. Get to the point where you take responsibility for the decisions that you are making. It's nobody else's fault, and it's nobody else's responsibility but your own. You are not, hopefully, most of you are not living off of someone else anymore. You are a grown up. You are a grown up, right? You're in a position where you're supporting yourself. It's no one else's responsibility, right? The success you're looking for, you can have influence on that. So listen, this has been the School of Hard Knocks podcast. I am your host, Mark W. Knox. Class is dismissed. Thank you, everybody, for listening on YouTube. This is a very interesting platform for us. Again, if I look like I'm getting distracted while I'm talking, you have to forgive me. We're only a couple episodes in. I appreciate you guys for watching and subscribing, but I do want to make sure you watch last week's video on the Dean's List. You see the graphic on the screen there. Episode 89 is like the orientation for the Dean's List. It's everything that you need to know. Again, the website is hardknockspodcast.com/insiders, insiders with an S. So make sure you visit that website. Make sure you register. Everything goes down starting September 14th. That's September 14th, 2021. Thank you guys so much for listening. I appreciate you.